Hey, are you rolling your eyes right now because yet another talented student is questioning their abilities?
We'll turn a negative into a positive with a no deficit model or a no imposter syndrome T. Check out all of our Black Social Capital swag and stay motivated by going to staymotivatedandrisetogether.com/shop.
This is Black Social Capital.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of season 1 of the Black Social Capital podcast. I'm Dr. Theo. Really excited to be here with everyone today. Excited to have this season finale of season 1.
Yep. Yeah, I'm Dr. Jackie. Hey, everyone. I am also super excited to be finishing this first season. This has been a blast. I have learned so much. And today we decided that we were going to bring you video along with the audio that we normally give you. So hopefully you enjoy this special treat.
Nothing like a little bit of pandemic video. Figured we was doing on screen all year, so give y'all a little fun. Want to make sure that if you're watching this on the video, you notice a couple of things. You'll see that you can scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen to catch up on all the past episodes. And do want to give a quick shout out to one of our good sponsors this season, Huey's Son Accessories.
Yeah. And we'll talk about sponsorship at the end of the show if anyone is interested in sponsoring season 2. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get this ball rolling. We have a lot to talk about today, but we are going to start with a question. So Dr. Theo and myself are going to answer the question, what is the last thing you read? And what is something you either learned or took away from it?
So I think for me, I haven't actually been reading too much, but I got some potential books that I'm about to start reading. One of them is a biography of Nipsey Hussle, and that just came out recently. Got it in my Audible, which is on my phone. Because flipping pages, that's so 1998. you know
Word.
I'll use some other modalities, right? So I got my Audible. I have also my library app on my phone from the LA Public Library to get free books. So I'm using that a little bit more to read by ear. So I'll leave it at that. How
I
about you, Dr.
also
Jackie?
Oh, I also like reading by ear, but I'm actually flipping pages because the book that I'm reading, I just really want to internalize it. So, the book that I'm reading right now is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's one of the classic financial texts. If that is something you are interested in doing, if you're interested in wealth building, this is one of the texts that a lot of people who are interested in that kind of thing have read and can talk to you about. And the one thing that I have learned recently, because I'm about halfway through this book, the one thing I read in the book that surprised me was that taxes didn't start in the United States until 1913. And the entire purpose of taxes was for the richest Americans to assist in paying for social services for Americans who couldn't afford it. And what has happened between 1913 and today is that, our wealthy and powerful people have successfully lobbied so that they could get out of paying taxes. And the people that pay the most in taxes and pay for our less fortunate Americans are actually the educated upper middle class, high earning middle class peoples. So I thought that was super interesting. I did not know, I knew that, the middle class were the individuals um, who were paying the most taxes, but I did not know that it originally started out as it should be, with the most wealthy people paying the most so that, less fortunate have what they need.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because, I mean, the whole reason that people travel from England over here was they was trying to escape taxes. So it makes sense that they didn't really want taxes until 1913 because they was like, that's the reason we left in the first place, on top of, you know, religious freedoms and blah, 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 blah. And hey, there might be some resources over here that we can claim for ourselves and, all that kind of thing. Colonize, colonize. Um, but yeah, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense.
All right. So next, I would like us to talk about our topic of the day, which is COVID-19. So if you've listened to the previous 19 episodes in this season, we've hinted at the pandemic quite a lot, but we have not really spent a lot of time talking specifically about it, and definitely in the check-ins that Dr. Theo and I have done. Those I don't think we spent a whole lot of time talking about the pandemic specifically, directly. So, the thing, the aspect of the pandemic that I wanted to talk about was this difference between surviving and thriving. Like, what does productivity in the pandemic look like, right? So, I don't know if you
Mhm.
want me to start or if you'd like to start.
Well, I mean, so 2020 into 2021, a whole panini press, right? Like a whole just pizzeria of just things going on. I'm gonna just not say pandemic as much as possible, right? But when I think about even us starting the podcast, I think even though we didn't necessarily plan it out this way, where we recorded some episodes ahead of time, it was wise because, at the very beginning of the pandemic, people were like, oh, we don't know how long this is going to last. I'm at home. I'm going to use this time to be productive. I'm going to go follow my dreams. I'm about to learn a new skill. I'm about to launch a business. First 3-4 months of the pandemic because we thought it was going to be over by then. And now we a year in, damn near a year and a half, and now we're like, whew. So I don't necessarily want to go back to work, but can I go outside? Can I do these things? And and so the transition is just different, right? So like I think when we're talking about productivity and thriving, surviving, I think people are at different spectrums of that. At any given point in the pandemic right now, right? So for me, I think uh, what has helped me is just having things that are consistent, right? So I have some consistent things with my friends that keep me social, right? So I don't pull out my luscious hair, as you can now see. Got the fresh wheat twist too. Ooh, ooh, look at
It
me,
is fresh.
right? So some consistency with friends, I think, was really important. And then on the back end, like learning to say no at work and being like, look, I got 2, maybe 3 hours of work in me. After those 3 hours, like I'm gonna be over here doing something else, right? And so I think that in a normal pre-pandemic, like we weren't able to really say those things, right? Where it was like, I really don't want to be here, but I can't say that I don't want to be here. And now it's like, okay, I don't want to be here, or people understand, like, oh, I understand that you're not in the mind space to work, which is something that wasn't said pre-pandemic. So I think those are some of the things that like come top of mind for me, as I think about the pandemic and how I've experienced it so far.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the pandemic, or maybe just a couple of months in, I was scrolling through social media because there's plenty going on in social media right now, right? Or especially last year. Scrolling through social media, and I would see, memes that would say, if you don't have a business started by the end of this pandemic, if you haven't invested, if you're not living your best dreams by the end of this pandemic, like, I don't know what you're doing. And it was just like, okay, that's a little motivational, maybe, for certain people. And then, I saw that for a few weeks. And then finally, I started seeing memes that said, you know, if you don't, start a business and make $1 million by the end of this pandemic, it is okay because most of us are out here just trying to survive. And that's why I just like, that's why I'm really just thinking about this survive versus thrive topic so much on a day-to-day basis, because there are so many things happening in the world right now where I'm just like, I need to be out there and I need to live my best life. And at the same time, it's like things are hard, right? Like we are at a point as of today where there's over 500,000 people who have passed away, right? That's a lot of death in a year. We have so much going on with, social uprisings, with Black Lives Matter protests, with all of the injustice happening specifically in this country, but also around the world. There's so much going on. And, you kind of just go to social media or read the news and you just see it all and it weighs so heavy. And then, like, if your personal circumstances have been affected, right? Like, if
Mhm.
if there's a family member who passes away, you can't go to the funeral because there's no space for you because there's COVID, right? COVID
Mhm.
restrictions on how many people can be in a space. There's just people are losing their jobs. Like, it's just so much. And I think that every individual really needs to figure out what balance looks like for them between the surviving and thriving. Some people are going to be heavy on the surviving side, and some people are going to be privileged enough to be heavy on the thriving side, and some people are going to walk a line somewhere in the middle, right? So I've been trying to figure out what that looks like for me.
Yeah, and I guess maybe just to tack onto that a little bit, right? Is the idea, and maybe we can take this even beyond ourselves. I'm thinking about just the idea that people can survive in one place and thrive in another, right? And that's very distinguishable, right? I think about industries that are just surviving right now, and others are thriving, right? Because I look at the higher ed space, and it's pretty basura right now, real trash, right? Like the pandemic is not only like highlighting or spotlighting like inequities and holes and gaps, but like uh, people are wondering what the next thing is going to look like, right? And how this experience is going to shift the whole industry, right? And so I know that that's happening in higher ed, but it's also happening in other spaces. Um, and I think that when you look at industries that are going to survive this, and industries that are thriving in this, I think I don't know if I would have a green screen in my house right now if it wasn't for the pandemic, right? I wouldn't, some of us wouldn't know about lighting and or pick up a camera. So we have learned some new skills, even though it's not maybe what we thought it might look like. So I think that there's some balance there as well. Just wanted to point that out. So
Anything else on this topic? Because I'm about to move us on along.
hey, keep that train a moving.
Keep going. So along the lines of the conversation of surviving versus thriving, we actually want to spend a little bit of time talking about one of our newer developments, which is, or new and not so new, actually, right? Like, we're going to tell you the story, but our new development, which is our smart digital workshop um, process that we have coming on board. And we'll tell you the story, but kind of in a nutshell, if you are an individual who is looking to be heavy on the survive side or heavy on the thrive side, or find a balance in between, at this point, Smart Digital Workshop is just absolutely a place for you to take a look at and make a decision on whether it's right for you.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
can jump in a little bit here too,
of
right?
course.
So, Smart Digital Workshop really was a pre-pandemic concept. Dr. Jackie and I probably would say about what 5 years now, maybe more,
Maybe more.
maybe more. But each year we take some time to sit, reflect, um, and figure out what's going to be next, right? I think a lot of what the pandemic did for a lot of people was just force them to stop, right? And say, like, hey, like I haven't had any self reflection. Hey, I want to learn a new skill. But for Dr. Jackie, myself, and a few of our friends, each year we spent some time together as an accountability group to really figure out, what our next job move is going to be, what what books we wanted to read, what how can we grow a skill set or try a new idea, and that's actually where our podcast grew from, right? The Black Social Capital podcast grew from this time spent within the group, and that group of individuals over the course of these years has gone on to get raises, get promotions, pay
Start
off debt,
businesses.
and so that's been really great. And so we wanted to bring that to you all, our listeners, who we know are doing some amazing things in the classroom as professionals. And so we put together a workbook to get you started. And then we're also going to have workshops where we can eventually in person go through step by step with you some of the tactics that have helped us with our own success. So I think that gives us a little bit of breathing room. I can help to share our screen. I think down at the bottom of our screen right now, you'll see the Stay Motivated and RiseTogether.com/get the SDW, which is Get the Smart Digital Workbook. And if you use that link, it'll take you right to our free digital workbook that we're going to go through right now in a moment. So I'll go ahead. I'll be disappearing from the video, but I'll be working behind the scenes as Dr. Jackie goes through this with y'all.
Let's do it. Alrighty, so here is the cover. So once you get our Smart Digital Workbook, you will see that this edition is called Using Your Strengths. There will be other workbooks available at some point. Definitely, if you become a participant of Smart Digital Workshops, you will get a different workbook. But let's go through this one. This is the free ebook. So again, do go ahead and go to that link and download this, and we're about to show you why. So you'll see here, this is our table of contents, lots of good stuff in here. You are going to get more than 20 pages of content for the free. Let's move forward. We just gave you an intro or the story behind Smart Digital Workshops. But if you forgot any of it or want to see some more of the details, page 3 is what you want to take a look at. There's also some stats there for our numbers people. I know I was really excited to see those numbers of how people were succeeding and how many people thought that this was a helpful experience for them. And then from there, you'll see we have some testimonials. So our past participants have spoken really highly of the experience and what they've gotten out of it. And they are very specific about the parts that they like. Um, from there, you'll see that we get into some activities. So there are a few activities in this free ebook where you are asked to do things like set a timer for 5 minutes, and you get an inspirational quote from one of our Black American greats, as well as a task to do. So there are different activities aimed at helping you do different things to use your strengths.
So I'm gonna jump in here, Dr. Jackie, real quick, right? Because I think this first activity that we have right here that we highlight in terms of just setting your goals and setting it for 5 minutes. I think that one of the reasons that we only said 5 minutes, right, is the fact that a lot of times we get caught in our head, right? And we're like, maybe this goal is too much, or maybe this goal is too little. And we set our timer only for 5 minutes so that you can stream of consciousness, put anything, everything down, right? Because I think the times that we think too much, it gives us that analysis paralysis, right? Where it's like, oh man, I thought too much and I don't have anything down. And so it's one of the reasons why I like that our activities um, are 5 minute kind of sessions here. So I also wanted to highlight this right here. And I'm going to zoom in. Oops, that's me. Look at that. Let's go back one. There you are. Go ahead. So you want to share a little bit about what this one is about?
Sure. So there is a brief statement right before this page that talks about how to use your strengths. And then from there, what we do is we ask, I think, about 6 different professionals from very different fields, very different walks of life, how they use their strengths in order to meet their professional goals. And they also give advice for other people who are similar to them. And we all took the Strengths Finder and talked specifically about how our different strengths assist us in reaching our different goals. So, very different people, very different analyses. And you'll see at the end of all of these pages is a glossary that explains exactly exactly what these different things mean, like strategist and philomath and optimist and things like that. So moving on, let's see. Oh yep, we got more activities. We're just gonna go ahead and scroll through and show you a bunch of things, but there's one more thing in particular that I want to note. Here we go. So, this is an article written by yours truly called Communicating Like a Boss. And there are a few things that I try to do in this particular article. First, I looked through lots of different resources, and I've looked up a lot of different sources to find uh backups, right, for the things that I wanted to say, because you got to cite your sources. And primarily my sources were able to come from black authors and our yeah, like black publications and things of that nature. And what I tried to do was talk about how to draw professional and personal boundaries, and then from there talk about how to treat others as you are moving forward on your goals, because it's all about building your network and supporting your team and being part of a team. I don't think I've seen too many people get anywhere on their own. So just trying to give some tips.
Yeah, and I think that was a theme throughout the whole season this year. Again, the pandemic highlighted the fact that people were really bad at communicating, and now we were forced into different ways of communicating, whether it was video, whether it was Slack channels or group me's, right? Different ways to communicate. But as we try to point out this year, and just the people that you were introduced to, um, you know you never know who's sitting right next to you that you can leverage for your own social capital, right? It's all about collecting that capital and cashing it in, like when you need it, right? When you want to make that move, when you've written down those goals and you want to take it to the next level. So I think that was really impressive in terms of some of the things you highlighted in the article that you wrote.
Thanks. Yeah, I had a lot of fun writing it. And I definitely, there were things I was just like, oh, I'm not very good at establishing boundaries this way, or ooh, I know how I can be when I'm working on a team. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm great, but some of the times, I have room for growth. But I'm growing right through this process.
Well, look, don't we all?
Yeah.
Don't we all?
So I hope that you all download the free ebook and get from it what I got from it, contributing to it, with Dr. Theo.
Perfect. I think that's a great it's a great opportunity for us to provide some structure to us sitting, right. I feel like a lot of people have like been forced to sit, but now they can have the opportunity to collectively kind of look at this together. And I think that if you're interested in not only doing the workbook but looking at the workshops, that's the next step, and you can do that just by going to our website as well. But what's next?
Well, I do want to say one more thing about the workshops because I do want people to understand what they should expect if they do decide to participate.
Hmm.
So this is a really community-based workshop and it is an awesome experience. We definitely set it up so that everyone in the community gets to help everyone else. And then we do set up an accountability structure. So this isn't like oh, I'm just going to go sit with Dr. Theo and Dr. Jackie, get my 1 hour of pep talk or workshop activities, and I'm done. Like this is a day long workshop, and after that, we set you up with an accountability partner who you're expected to check in with and, do work before you meet with your accountability partner if you haven't been doing it, right? And then, check in and make sure that they're doing their things and that they're on top of their goals. And then there are opportunities to check in with Dr. Theo and myself, 45 and 90 days out. So we are really following you. This is not a one and done. This is a real commitment of time, and effort, on everybody's part to make sure that everybody's successful. So this is a stay motivated and rise together event.
Yes. Like I think I don't know. I get juiced every time we talk about it, just because like y'all don't know, but I know, and Dr. Jackie know. Like if we didn't do this ourselves, like we wouldn't be exactly where we are. I think from starting this process to now, Dr. Jackie, you done had one or two new jobs. I done got some bonuses and a new job. Um, we upped our skills, but it was because we were intentional, right? And we found a structure that works for us. And all we're doing now is sharing that with you all. So definitely be on the lookout for those dates as they come. We'll have some announcements via our social. So follow us on Instagram at Black Social Cap. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Black Social Cap as well, for some updates there. And that leads us into one of our final announcements, right? Like what's coming next down the pipe. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So we are going on summer break. Super
Yeah, summer
excited.
break.
Ooh, I'm
The
ready for the
streets are
break.
calling my name. I'm going to the streets. So while we're out in the streets, safely and
Yes.
social
Social
distancing,
distance.
we're also going to take a break from the show. We're going to be back in August with some brand new guests for you all. We already got some lined up that we can't tell you about, but it's going to be great.
They're
Um,
dope though. They're real dope. We got some professors. We got some industry people.
Yeah, so when we come back for season 2 in August, just know that you'll see us a little bit more. So we'll do something like this a little bit more often. You'll hear from us a little bit more, and we'll also have more time with our guests. And so in season 2, be on the lookout for things like your shout outs, the we see yous that we talked about at the beginning of our show. We'll have a little bit more time to highlight some folks that we didn't get to highlight this season. We'll give you the opportunity to do the same. Um, it's going to be great. But in the meantime, in between time, on our socials, we'll be doing some highlighting. We'll keep you posted on some new merch that we'll be dropping. We have some things coming up just for your grads. We see you grads, class of 2021 pandemic sensations, getting those stoles, getting those caps, getting those gowns, being extra in your shoots. We see you. But we're gonna take this
Can I just
time.
say one thing?
Yeah.
Like, we see you and we love it and we understand, right? Because I know that I definitely graduated undergrad in the middle of the financial crisis that we had in this country. And to graduate and to be looking like at uncertain times is a thing, and you will never forget it, but you will get through it. You will come out on top. So celebrate yourselves. Differently than you probably expected, but make sure you find a way to celebrate yourself and your accomplishments, and be optimistic about the future. It's gonna be okay.
Yep, it's gonna be all right. We gonna be all right.
Are.
So, with that, I think that was our major announcement.
Yeah, I would say so. If you are, we did give a shout out, I think, at the beginning to our sponsor for season 1, which was Huey Sons. Is that what happened? Am I remembering correctly?
Huey
Wonderful.
Sons.
Yes, those pens are great. Those pens are great. I love mine.
Yep, they have some amazing pens. I wear mine on my blazer all the time.
Mm-hmm. And also the stickers are super cute on my laptop. But anyways, so if you are interested in sponsoring season 2, go to blacksocialcapital.com and look for the sponsor button, and we'll be in communication. But yeah, I think that's all I got.
That's all we got. So on the video end, we'll see you very soon. We're gonna loop back this text and graphics and get on out of here. And as we always say,
Stay motivated. Black Social Capital. But I'm messing it up.
Look, we know how it goes, and it goes a little something like this.
Hey, are you rolling your eyes right now because yet another talented student is questioning their abilities?
We'll turn a negative into a positive with a no deficit model or a no imposter syndrome tee. Check out all of our Black Social Capital swag and stay motivated by going to staymotivatedandrisetogether.com/shop.